Hey y'all. Hey y'all, we back. We back. We back. We better than ever. Like Eric Bischoff. Hey, yo, how's it going, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Curtain Wrestling Podcast. It's me, your boy. I go by plenty of names, including Jackass. But y'all can call me just Cody today, of course, but I am the host of this wonderful, fantastic podcast. Joining me, as always, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, James Bealey. Ram Jam. Thank you, ma'am. James Bealey. Sir, how the hell are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a bit tired, so if you see me yawning through the production of this show, I apologize in advance. But hey, let's talk AEW. Why don't we? Let's get into it.
You yawn in every podcast we do, so I don't want to hear that. It's ridiculous. But yes, I agree. Let's go ahead and go into Dynamite, the AEW Dynamite recap show here from the Dynamite that happened on September the 30th, 2020. Opened up, bam, right off the bat with a one-on-one contest. We had absolute Ricky Starks taking on Darby Allin in a pretty heated, pretty good physical contest. Ricky Starks came out with the Darby Allin body bag, not Darby's actual body bag. I think Ricky made his own. Excuse me. And pretty cool looking, I thought. Pretty cool looking. Good match overall, I thought. Darby did get the win via pinfall. Will Hobbs and Brian Cage appeared. They're going to have a match next week for the FTW World Championship, so that'd be pretty cool to see. Cody comes out, and I thought at first he was doing something, making a little bit of a turn ski, because he said no to the challenge for Brody Lee for their match next week for the TNT title in a dog collar match. But then he came back and had an absolute fiery promo to where he said, yeah, I'm doing it. We're doing it. And then what seemed like the entire AEW Dark roster came out and tried to hold back both these guys. So what in the hell are you doing? You're looking like Luchasaurus looking for his tail, damn it. What are you doing, son?
Sorry, my OCD is getting a little bit overwhelmed with this clutter on my desk right now.
Well, let's just be glad that they can't see the clutter. I'm watching this, and this is fantastic. Anyways, sir, you're making unnecessary noise. There's a bunch of things that are necessary, but this is unnecessary. Oy vey. Anyways, so opening a couple of segments there with the whole Cody thing, Brody Lee and everybody else comes out, and Brandy and Anna Jay and Tay Conti and Kylan King came out, and Nyla Rose appeared. Just anybody and everybody just about appeared on this thing, man. What was your whole thoughts of the first couple segments from Dynamite? Go ahead. Wait, we got to wait for him to yawn. All right. There you go.
All right. It was interesting, to say the least. I don't know. Ricky Starks, I'm waiting for the day that I actually seem interested in his character. I don't know. There's just something about him that I don't like, and I want to like him because he seems like a guy that people can like and enjoy his stuff. But Darby, he's just a fan favorite. Everybody enjoys watching Darby kill himself for their pleasure. And then we see we during that match, if you have the text alerts from Cody Rhodes, you knew that he was coming out after this match, and I don't know. I don't know what to think about Cody's new look, his new entrance, his new everything. I don't know. I guess it's just weird. You've seen the blonde-haired Cody for the last 3 or so years, and that was his character. And I don't know, it's just changes something that's hard to accept sometimes in wrestling. There are some things that you just don't want to see change. Like you wouldn't want to see John Cena turn heel. As much as people say they need to turn John Cena heel, the second he does, they would bitch and complain that they ruined his character, because that was John Cena's character. So change is something that's hard to accept sometimes. But you know what? I'm excited for his match against Brody. A dog collar match, that's an interesting gimmick match. Something that hasn't been done recently that I can recall. And so interested to see what happens next week. But yeah, Dynamite usually always hits out for the next first couple segments with a big bang bang, and they certainly did that this week.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that is an interesting dog collar match. First, of course, in AEW history. Some of the ones that I remember, some of the bigger wrestling promotions that I can remember. I think the last one that I don't believe WWE has done one in a long time. I remember it was Jericho and Perry Saturn at Uncensored 99 for WCW was the one that I remember the most, and off the top of my head. I'm not sure if WWE has done one anytime recently. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting match next week. I think it'll be a fun match, and it'll be interesting to see if Cody can regain a TNT championship or, if he doesn't. FTR promo with Tony Schiavone. Schiavone wasn't on the broadcast table with Excalibur and JR. Taz filled his seat. We're like, well, what in the hell happened to Tony? And had a nice little promo with FTR backstage and got super kicked by Matt Jackson. Yeah, that was crazy. SCU had their promo, and then they were led to the backstage area before they came out, and Sean Spears appeared. So that kind of put some planted seeds in the mind there. Yeah, we got SCU versus FTR. The Brush with Greatness, I believe, is what it was called, or something like that. And yeah, SCU and FTR had a very good tag team match. But of course, with a little help of the old man Tully Blanchard, as FTR picks up the win. This whole 3 segments here basically was all about FTR. And this is not the last time we're going to see FTR in the show. But what did you think of these for a few little segments here with FTR and then ending up with the match with them in SCU?
And I think AEW has done a great job promoting their tag team division, and more specifically FTR as the top guys in that division. I think it was kind of funny that they called the Best Friends some backyard wrestling indie guys, basically called them mid-carders. And then they go out and they have this match with SCU, and they look so good as a team. And I don't know, it's just one of them things. I like how they're kind of ribbing on the indies a little bit, but doing it in a way that is kind of funny. But at the same time saying, you know what, tag team wrestling isn't what it used to be. We're going to be that change and actually making tag wrestling important again, unlike other promotions that we will not mention. But overall, I think their match was decent. I don't think there was one match on tonight's card that stood out above the rest. I think it was solid TV, but that's all it was. It wasn't anything super spectacular. Good match though. Good storytelling. I love the storytelling of possibly seeing Sean Spears mix in somewhere along here, and I think if I remember correctly, they had Hangman on commentary during this. So just planting some seeds, and I think also at the end of the match, they mentioned that there's going to be like an 8-man gauntlet or something for a title shot, and Kenny Omega was one of the 3 members that is in this gauntlet, and Hangman said that Kenny Omega doesn't know what he wants, so I don't know, that they told so many stories in these segments, and they didn't have to focus the whole segment on one story. They were still able to progress several little things at one time. So I thought it was well done for this part of the show. And every time FTR goes out, they'll have a good tag match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how FTR's title run happens here. I don't know if with Full Gear happening about a month away, I don't know if this is going to set up just them and the Young Bucks. I just kind of hope they do have quite a long title reign. They deserve it. They are, that traditional tag team champion. Use all the tactics in the book, all the old school tactics to win matches. So I like to see it. But I also want to see great matches, and I know we're going to get that with this stacked tag team division that All Elite Wrestling presents. Jericho and Cassidy squared off. Of course, all of Inner Circle was there. Private Party, Matt Hardy were at ringside. Pretty decent match. Isaiah Cassidy getting his first crack as a singles competitor on Dynamite in a prominent spotlight with a prominent feud with Jericho. Interesting to see. Jericho did get the win via pinfall with the Judas Effect. Then Luther and Serpentico came out and attacked Jericho. I don't understand that. Whatever. Hager and Jericho are facing off against the Chaos Project, Luther and Serpentico next week on Dynamite, which is the 30-year anniversary celebration of AEW Dynamite. So that'd be interesting. We had a backstage segment with the Best Man, Miro, and Kip, kind of going about their planning for Kip and Penelope Ford's wedding. Best friend cut a promo, and FTR shows up. Once again, like I said, FTR didn't have that wasn't their last segment of the night. Orange Cassidy picks up Mike and calls him a weenie. Fun stuff. That was interesting. And then Orange Cassidy takes on 10 from the Dark Order, best friends, and a few members of Dark Order at ringside. Interesting match. It's weird that I never saw Orange Cassidy as a prominent role on Dynamite and never as a singles competitor, and now the man is wrestling every so often now on Dynamite in these singles matches. So it's very interesting to see. Orange Cassidy did get the win via pinfall. Yeah. What did you think about all these few segments as we kind of get towards the end of the show here?
I thought as you kind of wind down through the show, that you start to see the more prominent guys get their spots. I actually kind of liked the Jericho versus Isaiah Cassidy match. Isaiah Cassidy, I think Private Party is a very good up-and-coming tag team, but I think of the two, I love Isaiah Cassidy more than Mark Quinn. Nothing against Mark Quinn. I don't know, something draws me more to Isaiah Cassidy. And he put on a good match, had a little bit of offense, and was able to kind of show what he did. And does best. Even in a loss, he still looked pretty good. And then Serpentico and Luther tag team, I don't know. I don't know about it yet. It's kind of cool, and they mentioned it, that Luther and Jericho have kind of been in a feud or started feuding back when they both were in Stampede Wrestling, Stu Hart's gym, so many long years ago, whenever Jericho was in there. And so I think it's kind of cool that they're bringing some history involved in it, especially since Jericho will be celebrating 30 years in the business. It doesn't seem like it's been 30 years. Jericho he's so, I don't know, he's able, like we said for several episodes, he's able to invent himself in different ways. And it doesn't seem like 30 years ago he was just this blue chip talent that couldn't make the main card. He was always a mid carder, and now he's like one of the he's viewed as one of the best wrestlers of all time. And I don't know, Jericho certainly one of my favorites growing up, and it's cool that 30 years. I don't know, just doing the same thing for 30 years straight. You don't see that very often, especially in any sport, but it's cool to see Jericho do it. And he's getting the celebration he deserves. I don't know. It's going to be, you're supposed to hate the guy, but it's hard to hate Chris Jericho. So, and then we get into best friends, and I didn't say much. I think the best line was Orange Cassidy just saying weenies. I don't know. It's funny. Like, that's the thing is, like, yeah, it's comedy, but I don't know. It's just like unexpected comedy. And it just makes it a little bit funnier than it probably was meant to be. And then Orange Cassidy, I've told everybody that if you watch some of his indie matches, he actually has some pretty decent in-ring work. Glad that he gets to show that. I think he got the win over 10. So, you know what? That's pretty cool. The Dark Order, unfortunately, kind of got their asses kicked a little bit tonight. And join the Dark Order.
Oh God. Yeah. If you're not Brody you're in Anna J, you're losing the Dark Order. So there you go. Kind of get towards the end of the show here. MJF had a promo, which is fantasy points in our league, by the way. So I like that. Wardlow was there, and they went to the Inner Circle locker room, celebrating Jericho's win. Of course, all the Inner Circle are there, and MJF came with gifts, jackets, freshly made jackets for the whole group, except for Sammy Guevara. Not sure if that was unintentional or intentional. Kind of feeling like intentional because MJF is a prick. So there's that. We kind of had the promo from a while back, almost a year ago, where Jericho and MJF had this promo about, do you want me to be in the Inner Circle? Do you want to be in the Inner Circle? Kind of going back and forth with that, which is always fun. So nice little trade-off there. Remember, MJF is kind of looking for a group to join, and this is one way of doing it. He leaves with Wardlow and said that he swore in his mother's life that he didn't forget Sammy Guevara's jacket. And they leave. Guevara's like, what a loser. And Jericho's like, you know what? Maybe he's not so much of a loser. So planting seeds, folks. Planting seeds. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. Then we get to Britt Baker, which is her first real match on Dynamite since her injury back, I believe, in early spring. She faced off against Red Velvet, got the win, very sounding victory. Good to see Britt back on Dynamite. Hopefully she can be a prominent role in the women's division that needs it, because we're just not getting any new content from the women. Seems like consistently every week, which is a shame. It's a damn shame. There's enough talent on this women's roster until now really Chris Statlander comes back, and some of the others like Sadie Gibbs and Shanna can come back over from across the world. So we got to step it up, AEW. We got to step it up on the women's division side, man. Can't be having one segment for the whole show. We can't be doing that. It's a 2-hour show. I get these storylines to be built up, but come on, guys. The women's division has to grow, and the only way it's going to grow is if you get more time on television, or if you just get a second show, make them the prominent stars on that show, man. They need the time to get better. More reps will make them more comfortable, will make them better, enhancing their characters, figure out what will work and what won't work. You just got to give them time. Give them time on that television show, man. It's very upsetting that they only get one promo or one whole segment, this whole 2-hour show. That's ridiculous. I can go on and on about it because I'm so mad about that because it's a 2-hour show, man, and we can't give the women's division even more. And I believe this Dynamite was taped because I don't really think there was fans in there, even though they showed like a few little things of it. I think there were crowd shots from the previous week. I know that AEW, just from listening to their podcast, will do the one live show, and then the next night, I believe, we'll do a taped show for the next week. So I believe the show is taped. Don't quote me on it, but I feel like it was. But it's just so irritating that they couldn't do more with women. Very upsetting. But hey, Britt's on my fantasy team in our league, so there we go. You'll get your chance in a second. Eddie Kingston comes out with the Lucha Brothers, more fantasy points. Does this whole spiel about the week before, and then I got into a promo battle with Bryce Remsburg, the referee who called the match after the towel was thrown in because he was losing consciousness and all that stuff. And then he baits Moxley to come on down. He's talking trash to Moxley. Says it's not going to be Penta, El Cero M, or Phoenix facing for the world title. It's going to be the Butcher, and then it's Moxley versus Butcher for the AEW world title. Interesting match. I think Butcher definitely looked the best that he has. I don't think he's had very many singles matches on AEW television in general. So it was interesting to see that. Interesting matchup in general. Lance Archer needs to come back because we're starting to kind of lose a little bit of the grip on this storyline. I feel like just because it's like, all right, what's this got to do with anything? How does Lance Archer kind of fit in all this? But of course, he's still away from COVID. Hope he's doing well and recovers quickly and can get back to working. But yeah, so that's Dynamite from my perspective. Got the rundown there. I know we just went over quite a few things there. So debrief it all from your perspective, sir, and what you thought about the last few segments of the show tonight.
Yeah, I could probably go on a 3-hour rant about the women's division, and it's so, I don't know, it's just a 3-minute version. It's just a little frustrating because you kind of hype up this women's division a little bit, and it hasn't lived up to it outside of Sheeta, Britt Baker when she's healthy, and she hasn't been for a while, and then Statlander obviously with her injury. It sucks that a pandemic has hit, and you don't want to say the division sucks, but in some ways it does, or maybe it doesn't suck. They just haven't given us the content or lived up to its potential, and it's just a little frustrating. I do agree they need to put a little bit more emphasis on that division. And it feels like, to me at least, like WWE is more focused on the men and singles competition and building those single stories. And they don't give a crap about their females most of the time or the tag team division. AEW is more focused on their tag team and then their men's singles division. And then the only company that I can think of that really puts a lot of time and effort in their women's division is Impact Wrestling. And they actually have started to grow a solid women's division too with Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, and finally after like a year and a half, the return of Tenille Dashwood. They're starting, and Rosemary's still there and whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like on paper, though, if you look at the rosters, AEW has a lot of great, talented women who just aren't getting any time, and it sucks. Like, your champion hasn't been on TV, I don't think, in like 2 or 3 weeks. The only airtime she's getting is when she's posting like borderline racy pictures on Instagram. But I don't know. It's just, it is frustrating because I do think they have the potential to have one of the better women's division in professional wrestling. They just don't get the time, and it sucks. And we saw Brandy and Anna Jay, and they have their little thing set up there. We saw Nyla Rose kind of dominate. I think it was Rache Chanel tonight. And then, of course, we had this match, but they had one match. Everything else was kind of like smaller little like interrupted segments that lasted like 10 seconds and then it's over. And it's I don't know, it's a little disappointing. Britt Baker looked decent in the ring. I don't know much about Red Velvet, so I don't know if I really don't know much about her. But it was a pretty good match, and they end the show with the AEW title match, and I don't know. It was okay. It wasn't a solid championship match. I think there's a fine line between doing the Brock Lesnar style of never showing up and defending your title, and then defending your title every week. And I don't know if I feel like Moxley's he is a fighting champion, and that's cool. But at some point, you need to build a storyline for your next pay-per-view. And I get that in a couple weeks, we're supposed to have a title match with Lance Archer and Moxley, but we still don't have his story leading into Full Gear. And, we're a month away almost for that. And it's going to suck that they're going to have to rush to build a storyline to get Moxley ready for Full Gear's, presumably the main event of Full Gear. With that being said, I do think Moxley should have retained. He did retain. I don't know, the whole thing of Moxley saying, "Hey, let me just fight whoever Eddie Kingston wants me to fight." I don't know. It doesn't seem like a legit thing that a champion would do. Maybe I don't know. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Still a solid match. Butcher, I don't know. He's not green, but he's still not the greatest wrestler in the world. He looked pretty good tonight, and that's how the show went. For a second there, the match was going on. I was like, "They're going to end this? It's 10 o'clock." And then, oh, okay, well, it's over. So interested to see who Moxley fights, who's going to be his next opponent, or does Archer take the belt in a couple of weeks? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see there. And yeah, I don't know. Pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what happens, obviously, in the next week. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, it'll be Moxley versus Archer for the world title. Like you said, man, by the time that match happens, we're less than 3 weeks away from the pay-per-view, or about 3 weeks away from the pay-per-view. So not sure exactly on the booking decision, the timing of it all, but we'll see what happens. Overall tonight, man, of course, we got to do our thumb review. As always, 1 thumb, 2 thumbs, thumb and a half, negative thumbs, however you go about it. What is your take on Dynamite tonight? I am giving it the old 1 1/4 thumb. And just 1 thumb from you. Just 1 thumb. That's interesting. Probably the lowest score I think you've given Dynamite. And if not ever that we've done this, for a while, that's for sure. Hey, whatever works, though. That's interesting. But yeah, and listen, the whole jar in the Dark Order thing, that's ridiculous. I don't understand it. Whatever. Listen, don't join the Dark Order. Besides Cole Cabana, Anna Jay, and Brody Lee, they're a bunch of losers. So yeah, that's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. If you have anything else to say besides joining the Dark Order, go ahead and plug away at your social medias.
Alrighty, yeah, you can go ahead and follow me and my podcast page on Twitter at BtheC Podcast. And while you're there, you might as well go to the Pro Wrestling Tees merchandise store, ProWrestlingTees.com/BtheC Podcast. Go ahead and pick up one of our several logo tees that we have, because I change my logo about as much as Joe Biden changes his Depends. And so, sorry, I had to throw that in there. So go ahead and follow us there. We're coming up with some new ideas for the show. We've kind of taken a brief hiatus on me doing my show, kind of focused a lot on this show and trying to figure out what to do to bring some interesting content for Taking the Bump. But yeah, go ahead and follow us. We usually live tweet wrestling every Wednesday for AEW. I was so tired tonight I forgot to do it. So I took a day off. But we'll be back next Wednesday to live tweet. So go ahead and follow us at BtheC Podcast. And join the Dark Order.
If you want to be the losers, then you can join the Dark Order. Absolutely ridiculous. Of course, guys, you can follow us on the Twitter machine at BtheC Pod 18. Didn't do a whole lot of tweeting today. A lot of crazy things happening. Doing different podcasts, life in general, helping taking care of a 5-year-old. And of course, I'm talking about James. And then I've got a little one with my fiance as well. So just a lot of great things. We had a vacation this past weekend, so still kind of debriefing from that. But hopefully next week will be a little bit more on the normal side where we do live tweeting and get back to our regularly scheduled programming, if you will, on Twitter. So definitely follow us there. Definitely got some great content, of course, out there doing audio-only stuff. I've joined a podcast networking, All Everything Entertainment. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter. You can also go to their website, All Everything Entertainment. There's a bunch of different podcasts and shows and blogs that our friends over there are doing. So check them out. They've definitely got a whole different plethora of podcasting and blogs for sports, for wrestling, for entertainment things. Just about anything you guys look for. It's trying to be in one of the bigger podcasting networks out there. James is trying to get on there as well. We're currently on there. We've got our own portfolio, so definitely check us out with some of the past episodes. And of course, with future ones as well. You guys are watching this on the YouTube channel, so of course, make sure to like the video. Comment what you guys thought about Dynamite, what you thought about our show tonight, what you guys liked or didn't like. Some ideas you guys would like to see. Of course, special guests is always a thing we're trying to plan for. It never always works, but hey, doesn't stop us from trying. Subscribe to the channel, please. Definitely go down to that little button there and press that subscribe icon. Turn the notification bell icon on, so that way every time we post a video, you will be the first to know that it is uploaded. So subscribe to the channel. Share it. Share the videos, guys. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook at Beyond the Curtain Podcast. PWT, ProWrestlingTees.com/Beyond the Curtain Wrestling Podcast. Still got a couple shirts on there. Haven't really gotten any new designs out yet, just because I got to get the merch going for the first couple we got out. Can't add on things until you've actually sold quite a few things. And he's once again holding Join the Dark Order sign. This is absolutely ridiculous. I've lost complete control of my own show. This is like the presidential debate from last night. Joe Rogan, Eric Bischoff, somebody please moderate that thing and make it more than just a little bit crazy, but make it entertaining. That would be fun to see. Anyways, we're going to get on out of here before we get demonetized, before we just get kicked off every social media platform in the world. Thank you, James, of course, for joining me this weekend, as mostly every week, for these Dynamite recap shows. Thank you guys for tuning in. And once again, go to all the social media accounts. They are listed in the description below. So follow us there. Join us. Not join the Dark Order. No, we're going to join the BtheC Nation. That's exactly what we are. And so that's it for tonight's show, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We shall see you guys next week. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, your night, evening, work, school, fun activity, whatever you're doing. Hope you guys are staying safe and staying healthy. And we shall see you guys again next week.